What's up, wrestling fans? It's the Emerald Enthusiast, the co-host of the Wayback Wrestling Mania podcast, here with a look at the Mattel WWE Legends Elite Collection figure of Jake the Snake Roberts. So I recently found this figure on clearance, but I think that even for the regular retail price, you certainly get your money's worth. There's a lot to like about this figure, so let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging details now. On the bottom front of the packaging, it says Jake the Snake Roberts. Here is the Legends logo, and we get some nice artwork of Jake. On the sides of the packaging, we get different versions of that same artistic portrait. On the back bottom, we get headshots of the other figures available in Series 13. On the back, we get a brief summary of an angle from 1991. It says November 23rd, 1991, a day that will live in infamy in the minds of the WWE Universe. After Jake the Snake Roberts laid out another victim of his feared DDT, he grabbed the microphone and began taunting a soon-to-be reinstated Randy Macho Man Savage. Savage took the bait. Jake lured him into the ring, tied him up in the ropes, and reached for the snake bag. Instead of a python, however, a king cobra slithered onto the mat. Agitated by Jake, the cobra sank its fangs into Macho's arm, proving once again you never trust a snake. We get some product information on the bottom. On the top, we just have a partial window. So here is the figure as seen through the front window. I do like the figure's positioning here. I think that's attractive. We get 3 alternate hands down here. Up here we get the snake bag. And over here is the aforementioned King Cobra. And of course, this is Lucifer, who replaced Damien in 1991. And now that we've seen all the details of the package, I think it's time to bust this figure out and see what's inside. This is a piece of cardboard that comes with the figure. It has the Legends logo on it. It is rather attractive, and you might want to use this for a display. Here is the figure free of the outer packaging, but still in the inner plastic. And here we have the master of the DDT out of the package and ready to rumble. In many aspects, I believe this figure succeeds masterfully, although I do have a couple of key criticisms. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the loose details of this figure now. Let's get a quick look at accessories here. We get 2 pointing hands. I certainly like how those look. All of the hands come with the hinge in them. This is a bare hand that you can use to replace the hand that has the snake handling glove on it. And this is the snake bag. And what's really cool about this actually works up here. So you can tighten it and loosen it as you see fit. So I certainly like these 4 accessories. And here is a close-up of the Cobra. Now, this looks really good to me. Like, I like the scales back here. The way that this glistens underneath, like this hood part. I think that's what you call it. But obviously, I'm not an expert on snakes. So maybe someone with a trained eye would see inconsistencies here that I don't see. But I like the fact that not only does this look realistic, but that you can get it in Jake's hand easily. So I certainly appreciate this accessory as well. One minor issue that I want to point out with the accessories is this is the best that I could do as far as getting the Cobra in the bag. Now, I tried to get the whole thing pushed down in, and I felt like I was compacting the plastic in an unsafe way and also stressing out this material here. So I'm okay with the way that looks, but some people may be disappointed that they can't just have the snake's head poking out of the top of the bag. Let's have a look at the lower body, and there's a lot of paint and sculpting detail here. The figure is also sturdy, and I certainly appreciate that. You can feel that texturing here on the side, because this is supposed to be snake skin, and you can feel the difference between this and the laces in the front. We also get this swivel right here at the top of the boot, and I certainly appreciate that. However, and I have this issue on both feet, I really can't get the ankles to move at all. And if you've ever seen my videos, I often say that I really hate to force joints because that's just a recipe for disaster. I know I could probably heat them up and try it, but I think I'm just going to leave them. However, obviously you can see the gap here. You do get movement here, but I'm not really concerned with that. I like how the tights look here. You know, there's a lot of detail with the colors here, the red and the yellow and the blue and this fire design. I like the paint application here and this little bit of deco that we get. That looks really good. The joint for the knee, this double jointed knee, you can really get that to move well. So if you want to get him into a running pose, you can certainly do that. As far as the rest of the lower body goes, we do get this quadricep swivel here, so I appreciate that. But that means that the snake design no longer lines up when you do that. This is a really outstanding amount of detail in such a small area with the snake heads here. So I definitely appreciate that. And of course, the fire design, all these flames, they go all the way around the tights. The paint looks really good on this. Now, in terms of the rest of the articulation, you can get him to kick forward. That's an ample amount. That looks really good. Same for a side kicking motion. You can get him into this kind of pose, so I appreciate that. But getting him to step back doesn't really work because the legs just kind of snap back together. As we take a look at the torso here, and I think this is done very well. It's accurate to Jake's body. I mean, he was, a tall, lanky guy. He wasn't bulging with muscles, so you certainly wouldn't want the figure to look like that. You do get some good musculature here in the back. Good definition on the lats and the delts up here. As far as the front goes, I think this is accurate. Perhaps the chest hair and the abdomen hair could have been done a little bit better, but I'm okay with what we see here. Now, in terms of articulation, you can get him to go forward, which I appreciate that, which I think would be helpful for a DDT pose, but he really doesn't go back very far. To me, this feels like this should go back further, but I'm not going to try to force that. And if that's the case with all of the figures, I really do think it should have gone back a little bit further. Now let's take a look at the arms, and the glove looks really good. I must say that. You get excellent articulation here in the wrist. Likewise here, the elbow, you get double jointed elbows, so you can get his arm to go back that far, and I certainly appreciate that. 360 degrees of rotation with the shoulder. You can get his arms to go out that far. Bicep swivel, so all that looks really good. Same for this arm over here, and of course we just have tape around the wrists. But everything pretty much the same. Just an excellent amount of articulation. And I was able to change out the hands with minimal problems. If you just like to have Jake in a basic fighting pose, you can certainly do that. So as we have a look at the head sculpt here, and I think it's passable, but I don't think it's great. Now, there's a lot to like about it. There's good paint application here on the eyes. They certainly don't look lifeless. He has this intense stare, so I appreciate that. The mustache is sculpted and painted well. Same for the hair. It looks kind of wet. You can see the individual strands. It is pliable and doesn't hinder the articulation at all. You can get him to look up and get him to look down, so I appreciate that. But I think the lower jaw is off. I feel like there's too much in the lower part of the face, and without that, it would have been a more accurate depiction of Jake. So overall, not bad, but certainly could have been better. I certainly hope you have enjoyed this review. If so, please like, subscribe, and tell a friend to do the same. Stay tuned at the end of the video for some articulation shots, and also remember to catch me on the Multiverse Musings vidcast, available right here on YouTube. And I'll be back to the internet with more pro wrestling related content soon. But until we meet again, this has been the Emerald Enthusiast, and thanks for watching.